Have you ever felt that your silence makes people underestimate you? What if I told you silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom in disguise? Because sometimes the loudest voice in the room is the one that doesn't speak at all. There comes a point in everyone's life when you must choose to react or retreat, to speak or stay silent, to prove yourself or let God prove it for you. We were taught that silence equals weakness, that if you don't speak up, you'll be ignored, and if you don't fight back, you'll lose. But that's far from the truth in God's kingdom. Silence, when rooted in faith, is not weakness, it's power under control. You don't need to explain your purpose to those who are determined not to understand it. You don't need to waste your energy convincing people who were never meant to walk your journey. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing and let your life speak for itself. Because silence becomes your shield and focus becomes your weapon. When Jesus stood before Pilate, he had every right and every power to defend himself, yet he didn't. He stayed quiet, not because he was powerless, but because he was purposeful. That kind of silence takes strength. It takes trust. It takes self-control, the kind that keeps your eyes on the mission, not on the noise around you. And you're no different. God isn't asking you to fight every battle or defend every decision. He's asking you to be still and know that he is God. Because some of the greatest battles are not won with words, but with silence and unshakable faith. Some victories aren't won by shouting louder, but by standing stronger. The world teaches that power comes from noise, that the loudest person is the strongest. But the truth is, real strength grows in silence. Because the quieter you are, the deeper your roots become. The enemy loves distraction. If he can't destroy you, he'll try to drain you, pushing you to argue, react, and waste energy on voices that don't matter. But when you choose silence, you cut off his power. When you stop responding, you starve him of attention. And it's in that stillness that God begins to move. God works best in the quiet. When Elijah ran into the cave, he looked for God in the fire, the wind, and the earthquake, but God wasn't in any of them. Then came a still, small voice. That's where God was, not in the chaos, but in the calm. So many of us miss his voice because we're too busy defending ourselves, trying to explain what others can't see. But the enemy knows. If you stay focused, silent, and surrendered, you become unstoppable. That's why he sends distractions disguised as conversations, gossip, and criticism, all designed to pull you away from your purpose and into pointless battles. But don't take the bait. Don't lose your peace trying to prove a point. Don't trade your purpose for applause or approval. Focus on yourself. Focus on the calling God gave you. Focus on your growth, your healing, your prayer, and your A. Because sometimes the loudest noise isn't around you, it's within you. It's the noise of doubt, fear, and insecurity whispering, "Speak up, defend yourself." But that voice isn't faith, it's flesh. Faith says, "Be still and know." Faith says, "Let the Lord fight this one." Faith says, "I don't have to be loud to be powerful. I don't have to be seen to be secure." When your trust is truly in God, you no longer need control. You stop chasing the last word or trying to be right in the eyes of others because you're already right with him. And when you're right with God, you can rest. You can sleep peacefully. You can smile even when others lie about you. You can walk into a room full of critics and still carry peace. Not because you've made peace with people, but because you've made peace with the process. There's a quiet strength that rises from silence. It's the strength of someone who's walked through the fire and doesn't smell like smoke. The strength of someone who's wept behind closed doors but still shows up with praise. It's the strength of someone who could reveal the truth but chooses instead to trust God's timing. That kind of strength isn't ordinary. It's spiritual, it's divine, and it's only formed in the hearts of those who walk closely with him. So don't waste time explaining yourself. Don't let the opinions of others rob you of peace. Just keep walking, keep praying, keep trusting. Because when the moment is right, God will make everything clear. And the very voices that once questioned you will witness what your silence has built. There's incredible power in stillness. When you withdraw from the noise, step away from the crowd, and quiet your own spirit, that's when you begin to hear God in ways you never could before. Many of us are surrounded by so many voices that we've forgotten what his whisper sounds like. We fill every pause with distraction, every silence with sound, every moment with someone else's opinion. But how can you follow divine direction if your life is drowned in human noise? That's why Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. It wasn't because he didn't love people. It was because he knew that clarity is born in quiet. And when you're called to do something greater, you can't always stay in the middle of the noise. The noise will confuse you. The noise will pull you off course. The noise will make you chase what everyone else wants instead of who God created you to be. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your future is simply turn the volume down on opinions, on expectations, on distractions. Because God doesn't compete with chaos. He speaks through stillness. He leads through peace and directs in silence. But when your heart is filled with noise, you'll miss his instructions. You'll keep asking for answers while he's saying, "I've already spoken. You just couldn't hear me above the noise." That's why discipline matters. Discipline in silence. Discipline in stillness. Anyone can talk about focus, but only T.